But like I said, if that's.
It says we are.
But there's nothing there, it should be saying.
You're right. It's even counted.
Can you tell me if there's audio on there, Amber?
It's literally this.
Yeah,
The
but-
circle?
Well, right now it is because, but it should show black in a second. It's just the 10-second delay
I love technology.
between that and.
It's good when it works, it's horrible when it doesn't.
It still
Never works.
it technically will still be streaming if we have audio. So let me look.
No, it says two waiting. It's waiting.
No, it's live.
No, then let me close out again.
Because as long as we can hear it, then it's still within our.
I'm sorry, Matt. This okay, we scheduled a bunch of meetings. It snowed. We canceled. And like it's
Here. You can hear us.
here I am.
Okay, go.
So we have audio. We are streaming.
Then
We just have no
let's
picture.
and
Let's hit it.
let's do it. I call this budget committee meeting of March 30th to order at 6:14 p.m. We're gonna talk to Matt, the fire chief. He's gonna talk. So I'm gonna turn that right over to you immediately. I think you're supposed to use a podium or is there a floating microphone?
Yeah, he
Okay.
can- he can-
And I think there's something you have to hold down for him to, or it has to be on.
There it goes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So my understanding is you want to talk about the hydrant account for the town line
Yeah, that's my pet peeve, Matt. Every time.
every time. I guess I can make it fairly easy for you. If you don't want to fund that, I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you. My understanding is there's $16,000 in that account currently.
20.
No,
So,
It said 20 when she.
yeah, but there was an
Could I
invoice.
so it was a
clarify?
mistake.
Yeah.
Please.
so
Please do.
it says as of 12/23,
Oh,
there
okay.
was a bill that came in on 1/6.
Well, we paid for something
Yes,
that's for the new one.
yes.
Yes,
Is that part of the 10,000? So there'll be 10,000 left when you get done this year?
I'm actually working through a grant, so I'm hoping that at least 5,000 of the entire project
Will be covered?
would be covered. 4,000 we already spent, so.
So there might be
only-
15,000 left in the, yeah, so you don't need any money this year. I
And
mean, and you get any more scheduled?
I've got two other projects, which is repairing hydrants that are currently in town. The one on the Clark's Woods Road has a hole in it someplace that's underground that we need to fix. And the one on the old Walker Road by the old North Berwick Road is too low to the ground since they built up the road that we've got to raise that.
You have an estimate for those?
I don't.
What do you think? That's a couple grand?
yeah, anyway.
So you'll
That's a
still have
lot.
about $10,000 in the budget. My own personal, do you have any more scheduled?
I don't.
So we sit 10,000 in there. So if we don't add any, you'll have 10 grand. That'll give you the next one. And then
Deal with it next year.
deal with it next year.
And
That's my
also-
opinion.
It also would be something that we wouldn't have to continue to skip. Obviously, it's a good thing to have as many
Correct.
fire hydrants as we can. When we started that fund, I thought there would be more. And, that's not a criticism. That's just, I thought there would be more by now.
I've actually been working with a group through the United States Forest Service, and they're building like the whole grant, they're building a community wildfire risk reduction plan for any of the towns that border the Massabesic experimental forest.
Mhm.
And we did extensive research throughout this community to find proper locations to put hydrants. And right now, we found very few, and the ones that we have found are on private land. And we're having difficulties with property owners that
Don't want to sign an easement.
don't want to sign easements. The one project that I could probably do today is about a $20,000 project on Barker's Pond. And we obviously don't have money for that. But that is town, my understanding is that there's a town right away from the end of Barker's Pond Road into the pond. It's at least a 400 feet of pipe that we would need to do the project, a lot of digging and stumping and tree removal. But, so it's estimated at $20,000.
Do you know how many people that would serve logically?
I don't have that figure off the top of my head.
Fair amount on that end of town. Clark's, you know, the end of Clark's Woodrow maybe, or so in Chapel Shores, Wadley Pond, Barker's Pond, some of Mass Road. I mean, that's just off the top of my head.
So it would come out on Mass Road?
No, it would be on Barker's Pond Road. If you drive down Barker's Pond Road and you can go right or left,
Right there.
right.
Why?
all-
Oh, at the Y,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's not very far down the road.
No.
And the road's plenty wide right
Yeah.
there.
Out of curiosity, the other subject matter that I'm kind of digging into, how much is a normal ambulance ride or a ballpark-ish if you're taking a run, say, to Portland?
Well, so a basic life support transport is billed at $600, and advanced life support is either $1,000 or $1,200, depending on the level.
Okay,
And then it's mileage, and I believe wasn't prepared for that question. I believe it's 18 cents-ish per mile
Okay.
on top of that, or $18, not cents, $18 per mile.
okay.
on
What's the
top of that.
difference between the little one and the big one?
The
The advanced versus the,
Yeah, so basically it's the provider in the back of the ambulance and the skills that they're able to do. If we start an IV, give medication.
because I mean, the reason I ask is because I took one of those rides. And they picked me up and put me in the ambulance and dropped me off in Bedford. It was $1,200.
Yeah.
And they did, I mean,
A lot of what you're.
wait a minute, they might have gave me an IV, maybe.
An IV, an EKG.
No, I don't think, but what I had was, I was dehydrated. That's- So that would be an advanced one.
That would be an advanced provider, yep. Yeah, and a lot of what you're honestly paying for is, what if something happens between here and the hospital? That advanced provider can do a lot more than the basic provider that would potentially be in the back. of the-
But is it, when the ambulance goes out, he either has it or he doesn't? I mean, like, is the advanced provider is there?
Right.
Always.
It's whoever, well, not necessarily.
Okay.
It's
Whoever's
working
there,
at the fire
yeah.
station.
So it doesn't matter, like, if I had a broken finger, I'd still have the advanced provider on the way to the hospital.
Potentially.
Potentially.
Yeah, and it would be still $1,200.
Potentially.
Okay.
That was. the
All right.
question.
No, because it's just figuring, the amount
I
of
would
things I've
just
seen, the
throw
amount of
that
money
Yeah.
it would save to fix that issue would be big, potentially.
I guess.
I'm trying not
I'm
to,
not following.
yeah, I'm just being politically correct and not saying names, but no, I just like to just, like if something has excessive runs, to help the fire department save money, because I'm sure that you guys don't always get paid by insurance companies
Right.
for your runs. I'm sure there's a deficit somehow
Right,
with that.
and the main care and the Medicare reimbursement rate is a lot less than what we actually bill.
It's
Oh,
the-
really? Yeah. So,
It's the business entity that we spoke about at the
Yes.
fire station.
yes. Yes,
Thank
And
you.
what percentage do you collect?
We're about 80% right now.
80%.
That's good, because you weren't that way.
Wow.
Well,
Can I just
So-
make the totally off the subject of budget? I think that your number of 80% might go up just a little bit if Dayton would take credit cards. Because I called to make a payment over the phone and they were like, oh, you can't do that.
Did you call medical
And I'm like,
reimbursement services?
Yes. And she said, nope, Dayton isn't signed up to take credit cards. And I said, can I go make my payment in Dayton? She said, nope, they're not set up to do that. You have to mail us a check. And I was like, okay. So I think that might be,
Can we write it down?
a little bit easier.
We jot
if
that
it's-
down.
Yeah.
If it's easier for people to make the payments, because,
Do,
Right, I remember here you couldn't use a credit card for the longest time.
Yeah.
And that
Right.
Just came online. So-
Yeah.
Right.
do we have
just to,
any other concerns or questions for Matt that
No.
pertain to what we
No,
were
so
talking
basically you're
about?
looking for the grant to cover the fire hydrants kind of upcoming, like,
The one project I have in the works shouldn't cost the town much more than $1,000 because what we've already spent, that $1,000 plus the grant money should take care of the problem.
Okay.
That project.
so is it still a matter of us saving money for the other hydrant you want to do near Barker's Pond or? Because grant money's not gonna cover that, correct?
Grant money will probably not cover that. That didn't quite make the priority list. Through this grant, they're able to fund 3 hydrants, and it's in all the communities that surround the Massabesic, including Kennebunk, Ken Alfred, and Waterboro, and Hollis, and they can only do 3. So the one that I want to do on Fry's Bridge Road has made the top of the list, and nothing else in Lyman or Dayton has made the list.
Are they gonna do more next year?
No.
So you have another shot at
This
it?
is a one-shot deal.
We're actually looking to extend the grant and to renew the grant, but it's not guaranteed. So hopefully, but
No guarantees.
So I guess the question would be, if we gave you the $4,000, would you put the Barker's Pond one in next year? Because you'd have the money.
You wouldn't have the, he only
No,
have
you
14.
wouldn't.
He's got 15 in there now, and he's gonna have 4 more, that'll be 19 grand.
right.
And that won't cut it? How about if we gave you 5,000?
Hard to tell
doesn't-
that by next year.
Right.
Because if we're gonna put the hydrant in, we should put the hydrant in.
Well,
But if we're
right.
not gonna put it in, there's no sense putting money
Right.
in.
Here's,
So that's the question.
If you knew it was going to be funded, would that be on your list of things to do next year?
Yes.
Okay,
Materials would be the big expense.
right.
Well, right. and
Huge
The-
expense.
You know, it's the unknown. It's the unknown of,
Yeah, see, I'm all for the hydrants.
It's so unknown, because I don't want to sit here and say, yes, it's gonna get done, because we're gonna get a DEP permit.
I know, but you're gonna do the best you can to get it in next year.
if we
give you the
fund it,
money.
if we
Absolutely.
fund,
And
okay.
if you don't put it in next year, we just won't give him any more next year because he won't need it, because
Right.
he'll already have one.
what I would like, we were talking about whether we wanted to fund it this year or not. Speaking to him and listening to him, I would say that he does have a plan.
Mhm.
I'd like to see, even at just an estimated cost, if you were to get an estimate at this year's prices, at least it gives us something to go on. That would be awesome.
For the Marcus Pond.
Yeah, for that, because I mean, it sounds like you've been thinking about it a lot, and
It's
so I'd
benefit-
like
very
to
beneficial.
continue the thought process with you.
And I appreciate that, and the $20,000 tag, price tag scares me, because I
Yeah.
remember when we were spending $3,000 to get.
Yeah, I
I
know.
don't know, I think that when we first started the program, it was like $1,500
Yeah,
10 years ago.
Well, just to give you an idea, Vicky, we just spent $3,900 for 100 feet of pipe.
well,
That job needs 400 feet.
Well,
Yeah.
it is
Just-
what it
Just
is.
for that number alone.
It-
And that's was the other price. I don't know what it'd be today. Who knows what it'll be next year?
Yeah.
Right.
So the piping is a huge.
What kind of pipe does he use?
6
Go to
inch,
40
5
feet.
go to
minutes.
40, 20 foot through the roof.
oh,
That's
You-
why I bought it as early as I did.
Do you want to fund it? Do you want Matt to come back to you? What do you want to do at this point?
Well, I think that we've got enough, myself personally, I've gotten enough information that we could continue the discussion and vote on it
mhm.
without,
Without
I
me.
know.
without his, I
Yeah.
mean, he's given us his input. That's what we wanted to know.
Yeah,
Do you have anything else that you want to add to any of the other information that you've given us, like the 24-hour stuff? I know you got to go, but you got a couple minutes
I'm here.
to kill? Or-
Certainly willing to answer any questions.
What happened to the 207? Amber had a question about the 207.
I did.
Oh, you
That
did?
was Michelle.
I did. I just asked, is the place we're speaking of from a budget committee meeting, and I was at the fire station. I was speaking about the amount of runs and how much money they potentially could save if things were put in place where they weren't having to serve a place that has a lot of calls due to the nature of the
You
business.
found out that they were supposed to have 2 ambulances.
They are, according to, I did a FOIA as a personal citizen, and I did find, and I am writing a letter as a personal citizen. I did find, it did say, and of course, it's up to the select board and planning board, but I did find they were supposed to have 2 ambulances and paramedics, but they don't say what level, of course. So I am just writing a letter to the select board and the planning board just to address it. Nothing about I don't care about the business. They're entitled to their permit and to have their business, but it shouldn't be a burden to the taxpayer.
Yeah, and
It's a
As
large
I-
amount of money. It's a lot of runs.
as I introduced the increase of per diem hours at the budget committee meeting, that was one example as to why
Exactly.
we need extra staff. I mean, we can use we could use yesterday as a prime example where we're supposed to have 2 folks on duty. We have a brand new full-time employee working. in an orientation fashion, so there's actually 3 of them there. I'm at a FEMA class in York County EMA. The 2 that were one of the full-time employee, brand new one, along with one of the captains were out driver training, and one of their objectives is to familiarize themselves with the hospitals, so they were down in Sanford. Luckily, one person was left at the fire station, and we have a building fire here in town. So,
Yeah.
the need is there greater than,
How's your heart?
And
So,
over here in the corner at the same,
At the same time.
well,
just
pretty
before, yeah,
much,
just
just
Oh, wow.
before.
yeah,
Wow.
as they were started out to go driver training, they came across that.
That's what mutual aid is for.
We did,
well,
yeah.
Do you find,
mutual aid is 15 minutes out, and fire doubles in
Mhm.
size
In
every 2
5.
minutes.
seconds, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Do you find, or do you think, your opinion, that if you had more help, that lessens the burden on the rest of your staff? Do you feel that that then makes it more likely that people are like, oh, I'm not gonna leave here because I'm not stressed out, I'm not overworked?
at the last fire commission, that's really how this all really started to come
Mhm.
forward. I know it's in the long-term plan of the fire department, I say long-term, 5 years, and I wasn't really ready to throw it on the table yet this year, but at a discussion at the fire commission meeting, that's why it came on the table now. Work environment is truly important. I think we're paying our folks very well, we're on the low end of normal for our communities around us, is how we pay them. I think it's work environment. They look at Arundel, there's 3 people on duty. They look at Waterboro, there's 4 on duty. They look at Hollis, there's 3 people on duty. Here, there's 2. So the amount, same call volume, Waterboro's a little bit busier than us,
But-
Arundel's a little bit slower than us. Same call volume-ish.
Didn't you say,
Work.
it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but our call volume has skyrocketed over the last 4 or 5 years, it seems to me.
Yeah,
Is
so
that-
in 2014, when, not the most recent, but the one before that staffing change happened, when we staffed the fire station overnight, we were running 600 calls a year.
Wow.
And then in 2018, they put the second on overnight, and we were running 800 calls a year. Currently, I can project right now, and it's hard to project in March as to how we're gonna finish the year, but I can project 1,000 calls this year.
Okay,
So,
And worker burnout's a real, and your profession particularly is very, very much so, and that would alleviate that.
Yep, it would help. That it's a
Yeah.
start, it's a goal to where we need to be. It's a start to.
And hopefully getting you halfway there
Yeah.
this year. Awesome.
how many people can you fit on your trucks? We're downsizing trucks and replacing some.
So the first 2 trucks out the door, we can put at least 10 on.
Oh, that's nice.
There you go. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right?
Thanks,
Thank
Matt.
you so
Yeah,
much.
thanks, Matt.
Thanks for your information.
Thanks for coming, I appreciate it.
Sorry.
So I just want to reiterate, your mics need to be in front of your faces or they can't hear you.
Yeah.
They can hear me, trust me.
I want to know if they can. And I was going to say with the exception of Dave, but I didn't want to be that way.
She didn't want to call you out, Dave.
Yeah, Dave.
All right, so what page was the
The
fire?
hundreds are on page 27.
Page 27?
Thank you for that, because I was about to ask that very question. Um, we tabled the fire hydrants.
Yep.
And we tabled Kennybunk Pond.
Well, Kennybunk Pond needs to be done by the select board.
Right.
That's one of the.
That's why it
items
was
that
tabled, yes,
The
that's,
select board needs to deal with.
thank you.
All right. And they're not meeting till next week, right?
Correct.
They're having a workshop after.
I gave them the hit list today, again,
Okay.
so.
Okay. So let's talk about fire hydrants. Motion, second?
I make a motion to fund the fire hydrants reserve for $4,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion?
Isn't it 5,000?
Four.
Oh, sorry,
It's in
4,
there.
sorry.
4,000.
I looked at the wrong one.
I would
Got
like to discuss it. I could share my heart on it.
Yep.
Now that we've spoken to him and we know his plan, and there is a plan, this stuff's not gonna get any cheaper. If the money just sits there, it's still gonna be used towards the hydrant. I can see the point of not funding it this year and resuming it next year, but I can also see that it's not gonna get any cheaper. And if he does have the plan for that, I think that I'm gonna vote to continue to fund it.
Yeah, I think that's a solid argument.
I do
And
too.
but that's just me, so,
No, and I think where he's saying that really, if he knows he's gonna have the funding, he's gonna do his best due diligence to get it through, with all the paperwork they have to do. I agree with you, Vicky, wholeheartedly on that one.
I wasn't aware of the grant stuff that he was working on.
Yep.
And I'm gonna tell you, even 10 years ago, when they did that brownfield grant that I
Yeah,
took care of, that was very time consuming and it was a lot of, to get, so it's a lot of, there's a lot of
I've met with
effort.
them twice about the grant out on
Yeah.
site.
There's a lot of effort going on and, so I don't want to skip it out.
I agreed.
Is there any more discussion on that? All those in favor of funding at $4,000, say aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? There's no one. The motion carries unanimous.
Hey, do you guys want to skip over to the slab that we talked about? And
What-
just
what
get that
page
out
is
of the
that?
way?
What
Page,
page?
Page 34.
Is that the transfer station? We're gonna work on all the transfer station, aren't we?
Yeah, but this is in capital improvement. And then we'll go back and do the whole.
Oh, okay,
transfer
I'm sorry.
station. That's okay.
I knew you had a reason. I just didn't know it. I just wasn't sure what it was.
So I gave you guys the ARPA committee recommendations. When we met last, there was some discussion
Wait a
about the
minute, that's
slab
equipment.
being in the ARPA and
Yep,
Okay.
being in the budget.
you're on 34?
Yeah,
Yeah.
back page.
Page 34.
The absolute back page.
Up one.
No, flip it over, Brad.
Flip the whole thing over.
You haven't got the same 34 we do. Flip it over one. Come
There you
on.
go.
Oh, he's working out of the book.
Yeah.
Well, we all have it, but that's,
I got the
34
loose-
is the last, back.
Yeah, yeah.
I got the loose leaf version.
Hang on.
Me too.
We're all set now.
Okay.
I got her turned around.
We got
All
holes
right.
in ours.
So if you look at your ARPA committee recommendations that I handed out to you tonight in your packet.
Yep.
There is a slab under the recycle compactor to be replaced.
Okay, that you highlighted, yeah.
So maybe Brad could enlighten us a little bit.
The
about
the slab is
Second
finally
packet
failed
that she gave us.
severely. And this year it is heaved
So
5
this
inches
one,
out of the
this is where
ground
it's out.
on the inside drive lane, and it has cracked the slab underneath the electronics as well as the conduits. But doing that, it has also heaved the
Fire
pavement
commission.
to the point where I really don't want them using that compactor unless they absolutely have to. 'Cause it's a severe tripping hazard.
Now, which one is this?
It's the furthest one on the outside. Be lane one,
This is the
the recycle.
recycle compactor on the right,
Yeah, as you're driving in,
the
it's the
one that I
furthest
just
one.
used today?
Did you use it on the right-hand side?
Yeah.
That's why it's okay on the right-hand
Oh,
side.
it's the left-hand side.
It's the life side that it's
Yeah.
totally destroyed.
So not having looked at those myself, are we double counting the slab with one being in ARPA and one being in the budget?
No, so
So there are two.
I have changed the slab that was gonna go at the end for a fourth slab for an extra open bin and done away with that because we really need that space to push the snow, or it really handcuffs snow up there. So that slab that I was gonna put in there is the same exact size as the one,
Is that the one in the ARPA or the one in the?
it's the one in ARPA. And it can get moved to take care of that
So
one.
you're
It's the
gonna
same
do-
size.
The other one, so there's two slabs.
So there's two slabs, we're not double counting, because I
Right.
think that was
Okay.
the concern last
Yep.
time, was
Okay.
that we were
No, not double
counting.
We're not, okay.
No.
All right.
So what they also had on that, to bring you back, they had the camera that has to be used to find the leach field, the air compressor, and the slab that, now that we know it's not double counted.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that is $8,250. So,
We can do away with the air compressor line item, because I donated one.
is that all set?
Okay, so
Okay, so that's out.
750 is gone. Okay.
Thank you for your donation.
Thank you for your donation. So that brings us to what, 7,000?
7,500.
I move we grant 7,500 there.
I second.
Well, because it's one warrant,
Oh,
you guys will vote the whole thing when it's completed.
When it's
but we
completed.
have
Oh,
to
at the bottom,
Okay,
you mean?
yeah.
Yeah, at the
Oh,
bottom
Yeah.
line.
It's
Okay.
one warrant, so you'll vote the entire amount when it's ready to go.
okay.
Alright.
We're still waiting for town hall, are we waiting for that? We're still waiting for,
Poison ivy mitigation.
poison ivy mitigation, and we removed the desk for the new Minolta printer, and something came up with the vault, and we're looking into installing cameras inside the vault because of an issue that was brought up at one of our staff meetings, I guess, several years ago. There was an incident where some votes, Vicky's shaking her head, she remembers this, some votes that were taken out of the vault and destroyed. So after that, during that meeting, I said, well, maybe we should put cameras in there. That way we have the evidence and we have the proof and we have the ability and the deterrence. So we're putting those numbers together right now.
2 or 1?
Because so many people had access,
Two.
they couldn't bring charges against the person that they were, 99% sure that had done it. But there was so many keys out and so many people had access to it that
Right,
they wouldn't,
no proof.
they couldn't.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's probably a decent idea in a way.
Yeah.
In another way, well, it doesn't pertain to budget, so I'll just keep my
Would
mouth
that
shut
be
for now.
added to the present camera system we have then?
Correct.
It would be linked right with it?
Yes.
Okay. So it'll be on all
So
the
it
time?
won't be a huge line item. It'll just be,
Well, we need to get there's wiring in the cameras.
Yeah.
So, that would be the case that we would need. And that's what we're looking into right now. We had, somebody look at the vault to see what the wiring is. We're waiting on that, estimate to come in. And then we'll put that in there for you guys.
Okay.
But yeah, that came up the other day. Okay, so transfer station, starts on page 22.
22. I can never go the right direction on these things.
front and back, kill me.
I mean, I'm kind of glad because of all the paper, but there we go.
Okay.
Hang on. It's where it starts.
Yep, bottom of 22. Okay.
So I didn't know that when I spoke to the transfer station attendant, he asked specially to be here. So we tabled this stuff last. I appreciate that you guys did that for me, and didn't choose to be here. So I apologize for that. I had no idea that was going to happen. But is there anything on this budget that jumps out to anyone?
Could I go over some highlights with you guys?
Yes, that would be lovely.
Okay, so we started tracking on our tonnage. And at one point during COVID, it jumped. It jumped like
Oh, yeah, it was-
insanely. We seem to be holding very well right now. So we're holding, things are looking good. The things that are going to change would be the cost of hauling and the cost of tipping. Okay, gas, as you know, has been a problem. So we did with some of our batteries, our lights, those things. He's now charging $100. If he's there for so many more hours, he's charging more, where we would never be charged before. So a lot of this stuff is going up. Fuel hauling for the backhoe, we've never really had that as a line item. So I added that in here. And then the biggest thing, I think, with our tipping contract, and you'll notice that regular tipping, if you look at page 23, is lower by about 10,000. That's because when I looked at those numbers, it's pretty much leveled off. So I don't feel like we need to account for more than what is actually happening. So I did lower that. The other thing that's going to happen with, you look confused, Michelle.
No, I got it.
Okay. The other thing that's gonna happen is March 4th, 2024, the hauling contract is up. We're predicting that, right now we pay $175 a trip. So I'm actually predicting 300. Checking around to see what Alfred is paying for their service, what other people are paying for their service, 280, 290. By the time we get to 2024, I think it's gonna be about 300.
Do you know did you just say when that contract expires? I know it's 24, but
March 4th.
it's March 4th.
So on
Thank
those
you.
last 3 months, March, April, May, and June, I predicted out at 300, based upon what our tonnage is for March, April, May, and June.
Mhm.
And that's the other big change you'll see in there. Other than that, I think we're status quo on
Yeah.
pretty much.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's not surprising.
And that might
No.
even go up.
That might, I'm,
Yeah, at least that 300 is at least a start, because.
yeah, that's where I came in at, based on what other towns were telling me. They're 280 for this type of hauling, 290 for this type of hauling. Had to go with a number. So that's, with any budget, it's a best guess prediction
Right.
based on the
That's all you can
information
do.
that you have.
Yeah. It's an educated guess. Is
Yeah.
all it
Really,
is.
that's all it is, hypothesis.
I don't ever see it going down, let's put it that way.
Right.
I mean, it's the Wild West for truck drivers
Unless we go back to horses because the electric trucks don't
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
or whatever. I don't know. Interesting.
Yep.
Did we ever get a contract on that backhoe
For,
maintenance?
no one will give us a contract.
No one will give us-
I have a price to be able to do it for this year. I'm lucky I was able to get the price. Nobody wants to do anything anymore.
We didn't put anything on ARPA for the backhoe?
We couldn't,
General
Oh, that's right.
maintenance.
right?
General
We had to
maintenance.
Take it out of
That's
there.
right.
We did put the sandblasting
Okay.
and painting.
Yep, all right.
Because
I
that's
thought-
more of a capital improvement than general maintenance.
Yep.
Yeah, because I thought there was something on
Good
there.
thinking.
The other thing too is we're renting 4 cans, right?
Correct,
So we have no idea if that price will go up when his contract's up.
correct.
Twenty 21.
So I do have one question on the phones and internet.
Yeah,
It's really $4,000 for phones and internet at the transfer station.
we have, it's, right now it's $97 a month.
Okay,
So I'm anticipating it to go up.
oh, wow.
So the fuel on page 22 for $480. Gas for backhoe, $40, 12 trips.
That's just to get the fuel. That's to pay Dave to go get the fuel.
With 5-gallon cans.
Why don't we have a
Yeah,
tank with a pump on it
I was
like
just gonna ask
some
that
of
too.
your,
The one
Contractors
issue
have-
is, in order to get a good price, you need because I go through this, you have to have a 500-gallon tank.
oh, and they're gonna
Once you
come
have a-
deliver it.
Right, once you have a 500-gallon tank, it has to be contained, has to be in a containment area.
They want to deliver to a 500-gallon tank?
They will, that's what they
I
want.
don't know, but I mean,
They deliver to me, I have
You
a
can
hundred,
get- you
I have a
can-
125-gallon tank.
Yeah.
But I pay 45 cents a gallon more for short delivery. When you go to 500, fuel oil is totally different than propane.
yeah, I know, but your normal tank is like 275. I mean,
Correct. You're still gonna
At
pay the big,
275, you don't need to contain it.
that's correct, but you're still paying the big dollar.
Well,
Okay.
figure it out. What are we paying a gallon here?
Well, right
Including
now,
hauling it.
right now, we're paying for something.
Whatever you.
Whatever-
What are we
Whatever-
paying Dave? We're paying Dave though.
The 12, what was it?
Dave only charges you $40.
Yeah,
To,
So-
to,
It's
Per
well
trip.
worth it over that. It
Per
was
trip.
just a curiosity.
yeah, yeah.
You
No,
know-
no, the
Well-
question is it worth owning our own tank and having it right there without sending Dave off to get it?
Right, because to Dave's point, at some point, Dave's not gonna wanna do that, or maybe he's gonna get too busy, or if Dave decides, I'm not doing that anymore, we're kind of back in the puddle here.
We could certainly put a tank inside the steel building and just have to run power to it.
I think it's something worth
And make
looking
sure that the
into.
fuel delivery comes when the transfer station's open.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that if you
Even a
got a
275
275-gallon tank, how many gallons do you use a month?
We're averaging probably 40, 45 a month.
Yeah,
That'll
so a
last a year.
200-gallon tank's gonna last you a year.
Yep.
Right,
Less in the summer, because the
So-
backhoe plows in the winter.
so
Yeah,
how many trips does Dave make per year?
so I'm estimating, 12 trips.
we're only talking about $480, so I mean, it's not like we're.
But again, my concern is over time.
Yeah.
He's a busy man, he has a good business, he has a family, but, and this is all of us, we're all getting up there in years.
I think-
Getting it in 5-gallon cans is,
I think personally, it's worth looking into, but I feel like if we go with this, the way it's written for this year.
Yep.
We look into it for next
Yeah.
year about
Agreed.
adding that, because it's not, oh my God, we gotta do this
Put it on
right
the
away.
radar for next year.
So- Yeah,
for
I
next year.
I think
Next
so.
year. Yeah.
So I
agreed.
made a note that that's something that we should look into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And put on the target list for next year.
I'm just thinking simplify and
Yeah,
stop
we don't wanna
depending
go
on
500 gallons, 'cause
people that may not be there or change jobs,
Yeah.
and, I mean, Dave has such a heart,
No, I
but.
know.
Things
that's
happen
why I
to
won't do
people
it at
though,
home.
too. I mean, one
Yeah.
day you're here and the next day you're gone, so.
Exactly, I
The
mean,
bottom
Dave
of
does a
the
lot for the
second
town, and
Old
So
fashioned.
Amber,
Most guys-
what's your
most
next
guys will
question?
do
Why
it
was
for-
it listed
it's over.
twice?
Yes, that was,
Oh, they all will.
One
So
is
one
for
is
the
for the
pickup
can we-
hauling and
one
one
is
is
for
for
the
the
Continue,
actual- okay.
thank you.
I
So
wanted to make
he
sure that
gets
we.
We just wait for
5-gallon
you.
bucket, 5-gallon jugs of gas,
Yep.
fuel,
Mm-hmm.
40 gallons a month. So he's going and getting 8 containers of gas at one time.
I think he gets 4 or 5 or whatever. he
Yeah, we
thinks he
have,
needs.
I think there's 4 up there.
If there's a storm coming, he makes sure that there's enough to do it.
yeah, I think you guys need a tank.
Yeah. there's like
Somewhere.
that- Yeah.
I just want to make sure I fully answer your question.
Yes, no, that was where I was
Okay.
going. I was like, okay, why do we have 480 for fuel here and we have this over here? Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
one is the
Yeah.
actual fuel and one is the service to
okay.
Yeah.
procure the fuel.
Yes.
Procure. Okay, not gonna happen today.
And I'm assuming the personal protective gear is just because prices have gone up on everything.
Yes, in fact, we actually had to go out to Amazon this year
Oh, wow.
to get all the reflective and the gloves and everything that we needed to get.
And they need warmer coats in the winter.
Yeah.
What they've been getting is horrible,
Mm,
Yeah,
just horrible,
yeah.
because it was all about cost.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really have it in the budget, you know?
Well,
And it's like
needs
those
some
guys are
cover.
bundling up, standing outside.
Mm,
They need warm gear,
I don't want their job.
you know?
No, thank you. Cold.
Oh, I'd take it in the summertime. not in the winter.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's quite an odor there, Amber, in the
Well,
summer.
If you can't smell, you're good.
Exactly.
Can you refresh my memory as to other health and wellness? I know, is that,
So that's in the event that, okay, if there's a needle stick, they're gonna have to go to the hospital and be taken care of. There may be, we may need to replace eye wash.
okay,
We may, it's for
First aid
those
kit.
kind of
that's what I
things.
thought.
Yeah.
And we've never, I mean, the closest we ever came to the 500 was 388 in 2020.
Correct.
And everything was inflated at the transfer station in that year, I
Well, it's
believe.
COVID too.
Yeah,
so
that's
probably
when-
masks
so,
were a big
right,
part of
so-
that.
I think we're safe. That sounds,
Yeah.
seems like a,
I mean, I'm good with the transfer station numbers.
does anybody else have any concerns about the transfer station budget?
Do we have to vote this individually, or can we vote it
So
all
you
as
can
one?
vote the
We can-
335,
okay.
340.
I make a motion for the $335,340 for the transfer station.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I would like to clarify that none of the salaries to the employees are in this budget, correct? They're in the personnel line
Correct.
that we haven't done yet.
And neither has the select board.
Yeah, right. And that's,
So
I really wanted to clarify that for anyone who's
Yeah.
listening.
Correct.
Thank you.
Neither are the benefits.
So is there any more discussion? Well, hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? No, because there's nobody else. It's just us. The motion carries unanimously, 5-0.
So that's all we had for the budget.
well, do we have outsourced general admin? Did we already do that one?
No.
It says done and sent to budget committee. Is that wrong?
Yeah, because we still need we went over it and you guys asked your questions. And I think I'm still waiting on the town hall feasibility
Oh, okay.
or it's either gonna go in town hall feasibility or for second round, or it's gonna be an outsourced temporary, which is all part of the same
Okay.
section
All right,
for round 2.
round 2.
So that little note I have over, need temp to be done for one number before you can.
Yep.
We did go over it, but. So I do have quarter 3 or quarter 1 on whichever way you look at it, January through March, if that's something you want to do today.
Well, our quarterly meeting is scheduled for the 20th of
Okay.
April.
Well, I have it
but-
ready if you want to do it today.
Well, it's a lot to digest to go ahead and talk about that. I mean, right? Usually we get those booked and then have time
Is
to,
it this?
Is it,
No, I have it over
That's
here.
the
I
fire
didn't know if
department
it was
stuff.
something you wanted to do. So I can pass those out to you and you can digest them and take a look at them and not much has changed. This is your quarter.
thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
more stuff.
I don't know if this is anything you want to do tonight, or we can do it later too, it doesn't really matter.
No, I'm down at
I have it all printed out this time.
whatever we want to do. So Michelle had done some stuff about Bunganut Park, so
Right, and I mean, this isn't anything that we even get to vote on, because we don't have anything to do with contracts, but I can list out what I found, which I had presented to the board. But that's up to you guys.
I'd rather hear what you have to say about that. Then I would try to go through this really fast and do our quarterly meeting that That's not the way we said we were gonna do that, but I mean, I'm
That's fine.
obviously I'm only one person, so whatever the board wants to do. You tell me.
I would like to be able to digest the quarterly stuff.
Okay, I'm in agreement with you. Is there anybody that feels differently? Is there more than does three feel different?
No, I would like to review this too. There's a lot of numbers.
Yeah,
Give me a chance to go through it.
cool.
Did you
So,
have something for bunging up? Michelle?
Well, I just have the stuff I had printed out. I know I don't think Vicky was there when I had presented everything to the select board. So basically, it's like I'm trying to figure out, it's like I said, Bunganut's costing $83,000 a year between sports side and beach side.
Right.
Basically split.
Including the Y?
Yeah, we're paying the WAG like 41,000 a year. But I was trying to understand what we're paying them for. And they gave us numbers, but nothing matches up. Like when you have passenger cars, times residential, seasonal passes. I know you tried to figure numbers out too. And I tried my hardest to figure out what the spreadsheets that the Y gave us, and I can't.
it doesn't add up.
The math
Nothing.
doesn't work at all.
No, to the difference of like $22,000
Wow,
missing.
that's
Yeah.
not working.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I mean,
huge.
nothing matches, nothing.
And that's just numbers we know about.
Right, and according to what I remember seeing in the contract, it's like they're open from, I think, May to October 31st, but I don't think they only do weekends for part of it. And then I don't even know if they do Labor Day. Because I know like the Labor Day line showed 0 all the way across. So I don't know if it was locked. I don't know if
It
they
wasn't
just
locked.
didn't keep track of people
Just
coming in
open.
that day and didn't collect fees. But also like the day pass for a vehicle of 8 people. No, when I was young, station wagon, you could 12 kids in a station wagon was a
Drive-in
good
movie
deal.
theater.
Yeah.
Right?
But now most cars, I try to fit my son and his friends, and I can get 2 kids in the back of an SUV, 3 kids across the seat. That's it. I'm done. I'm tapped out.
Do we know the budget? Bunganut, do you know what page it's on? This, I know what you just gave me. I thought maybe I could look and follow along or see.
So Bunganut is actually split out
Oh, okay.
because you have porta potties, you have plowing, you have,
I had Jeanette pull.
different things.
This is
And-
how I got the number. This is
Yeah, I don't have
83,910 right here. These are all the numbers for everything. I had Jeanette pull an accounting for Bunganut, and it's 83,910, and it's with signs, electric bill,
Okay.
services, plowing, mowing, care and maintenance, parks and rec, and
Did
outsourced general admission, which is the Y.
Did you make one of those for all of us?
I printed out 2 copies. I have this on my
Did you
computer
have
at
the income
home.
on there too?
You want me to make?
Did you have the income on there?
You can't figure it out, but it's on there. And then my questions were on
Somebody
the,
knows what it is because it comes
Yes.
into the
Yes, to answer
town
your
hall.
question, Jeanette.
do you want color or do you want black and white? I got both.
Black and white. Color costs more money.
Yeah, right?
Color costs more money.
Just
So-
these?
You
Yep,
couldn't
just
get-
those. This is a copy.
Nobody
So
has the number, Jeanette, on how much
She-
this Y turns in?
it's, well, you can't figure
No,
it
no,
out.
I understand that, but I mean, we
That's-
must have a number.
It's right here.
Oh,
what they
okay,
gave us.
it is there.
So
But
for,
that's what
for
does it drive.
2022, they're showing us that the total is 22,197. But if you're trying to do the math according to the numbers that you're given from their spreadsheets, nothing, you
Not even
can't,
close.
you can't even match one line.
Now, the spreadsheets, do they include everybody or just the non?
Everybody.
Everybody.
But those are from the Y. I don't have the spreadsheets in here because they were long. I didn't
But
print
the-
those
but
all
the-
out.
But if the spreadsheets include everybody, then there would be no money for Lyman residents.
Right, but it shows it by column.
So it does. So you
It breaks it
should-
out by
they break it
column,
down.
residents, seasonal passes, and visitors.
When does their contract renew?
Next year.
Next year.
It'd be a good idea to have all this stuff ready to hit them with.
Yeah,
next year.
I did bring it to the board's attention because, we realized that we have, Bunganut Pond is 303 acres and the town owns, I think, 106 or 160. I still don't
Yeah, I
know
never got a clear.
that.
number.
I was told at the beginning of my search that the building that's there, the Y put it up, and that's not true. Parks and Rec
Parks and
built
Rec
that.
built that.
Yep.
but we don't have any access to it. We're never allowed to use it.
Is that
Until now.
the one
Until
that
now.
the Snowmobile used to use?
Long time
Same
ago.
building,
Yeah.
snowmobile, yeah, okay, yeah.
And then I was trying to figure out what the teams pay to use fields. And that was a bit of a,
Well, yeah,
They
that's
now-
an interesting fact.
they have
Yeah.
a protocol being put into place now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's what, I mean, my biggest thing is like, it's like, I don't want to see the Y lose their space. It's a great place for the kids. That's not quite, but we're hemorrhaging money for 2 employees to man the gate, and then the rest of the money goes to the Y for them to take care of picnic tables and book the Pines and lock a
Collect the
gate.
stuff, yeah. Collect the money and take care of
So,
the.
but that's
supervision.
$26,000 to do that. You know, I understand the employee things. Employees are hard to get right now and paying people to stay there and work and whatnot. But it's just like, at first, Jeanette did a great breakdown for me. I asked for as well for fiscal year 2019. It was like we were only short 2,000. It was only a $2,000 difference, and then 20 was a $10,000 difference, and then 21 was a $15,000 difference. Then 22 is a $15,000, and then 23 is a $20,000 difference under the revenue and expenses. Those are from Jeanette numbers we were able to pull of what we're paying the Ys and brackets, and
10 for 2023.
yeah.
10 for, yeah.
And then, so the number on the left is what we bring in, the number on the right is what we're paying the Y.
I think
So
the,
you can see the difference.
Yeah, well, it's a,
And then if you look on the second page, I pulled from their website what they get per camper. So it's not like they're losing money. I don't think they're in a
I
hardship
think really
way.
what they get for campers is, I don't think we can't, this is the thing we need to look at. What is it costing us and what are we bringing in? And
Yeah.
if it's costing us $10,000, what would it cost us to hire 2 people and supervise them and have them up there the whole time?
Paygate,
Because I mean, I was in your position 4 or 5 years ago when I first got to negotiate with the Y.
Mhm.
I said, why are these people making so much money? But
But it's like
you'll get to hopefully see it next year.
a pay gate
a
would
paygate's the way to
be
go.
beneficial. And then not only that, but I'm just looking at, they could rent the place from us instead and
But-
we manage it.
part of the reason why this started was because people were left to their own devices up there, and there was a lot going on.
Yeah, and you can't.
That
Liability
opens a
is out
huge
the window.
liability to the town, and that's why this started. So yes, a pay gate might be a wonderful thing. However, you still don't lack supervision or a means of, if something's happening that shouldn't be, what do you do about
Still
it?
have to
So
manage the place
it
somehow.
still needs to be managed
I'm surprised
somehow.
it's so cheap.
So
I
I
mean-
think
Maybe it becomes a part-time Parks and Rec person or a quarter.
What are you gonna
Parks
pay
and Rec.
that person?
I don't think you
Remember,
want to have.
It's costing us $10,000 to operate the park right now.
I wouldn't want to have less than 2 people
Right.
on duty
Correct.
there
You
at a
couldn't have
time.
less than
You-
But you could do more with Bunganut if we did more with it. You know what I mean? It is a diamond in the rough, as they say. There's lots that could be done with it. The Pines could be rented up more. You know, again, the Y could pay to use their end. There's no reason for them to get it for free. You know what I mean? They're getting a really
They're not
good,
getting it for free.
well,
We're paying them $10,000. We're
Well, they
paying
are
them
getting it for free.
$10,000 to operate it. Because here's the difference. I mean,
no, they're making lots of money off the campers too.
But-
So it's to their benefit to have the space.
I understand that, but that's not that's neither here nor there for us. If we
Maybe for
didn't
you,
have them,
that's your opinion, I'm gonna say, because that is a big deal for me.
okay, what would it cost us? What would it cost us to operate Bugana without the Y?
What was it, 28,000 in their contract was for the employees?
Yep.
So, and that's, I don't know.
That's only for 3 months, like solid
What do we
months.
figure, Jeanette, $21 a person for 2 people, right?
Yeah,
So
I-
it's 42 an hour.
I had done some work and provided it to the Board of Selectmen, and I don't have that with me.
Yeah, it's somewhere in
At
my
this
email
moment.
too.
But yeah, we
Something
figured
like that.
at $21 an hour, 2 people, because they wouldn't be 2 people manning because they
Sharing
have to
shift.
work in shifts. And
That was-
I'm not even gonna say the number, Brad, because it was
Yeah.
like 3 weeks ago,
I know.
4 weeks ago. But yes, I did provide that to them, what if scenarios,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you had the Y renting their space over there and we hired 2 people, we still probably, and I mean, the thing is, if we do pay gate and 2 people still manning, you probably still make out. Because really honestly, if you try to figure out the monies in conjunction with the numbers they have in their spreadsheet,
Well, even if you just take these numbers here that they've given for a total, they say, I can't read the checks line. What is the,
$3,195,
okay. And then the other one's $19,200.
$1,002. Right.
So if they say, is that 387 seasonal?
387 seasonal, yeah, at $75.
So that's $29,025 right there.
Uh-huh,
Again, what's the weekly number?
$50.
Yeah, but what's
5.
5?
Uh-huh.
Well, I think that was one of the other questions that I had is the weekly numbers. Are those, when they count them, is that a weekly pass that they could be, one weekly pass, they could be counting 3 times because there was 5 in like 3 days?
Yeah.
So that was another question. I
Nobody
had.
knows.
Yeah, and that's it.
We
Like,
don't know.
No.
you don't know. I mean, that seasonal passes, is that they've sold 387 or is that one person bought a pass and they've gone 387 times?
Which makes a difference.
Which makes a difference.
Yeah.
Because if that's $75, then
But then you have 2,137 cars went through. And those numbers don't jive with anything we have.
Yeah, but those include residents.
Yeah, but they're showing residents at 732.
yeah,
So-
773 residents, 278 season passes.
And 1,081 non-resident passes.
So what I did was I took their spreadsheet and I carried it out some more columns. Because we have the number of people, we don't have the number of cars, and they're charging by car, $15 per car. So
I have
carried it out-
2,137. They gave me that.
Huh?
Andy gave me 2,137 2 years ago.
For
So, well, what I
2022.
do is
Yeah.
I took this year's sheet that you had, I carried out some of the columns. I figured out the number of people. If you take the number of people divided by 3, times it by 15, that comes very close to what our revenue is. So it's like 3 people per car. But Labor Day is not in there, which is another question I had.
It's completely blank all the way across. Yeah. So anyways, it's just something to consider, because we have we also, I mean, we're paying them, but we're also paying the electricity. We're also paying for the trash pickup,
Yep.
you know.
The parties.
Yeah, we're paying for the supplies over there. We're paying for, so these are things we're paying for over there that are not necessarily for the town benefit. This electricity goes to the shack and goes to the program they use. So again, and I mean, electricity alone was $4,000.
I like how they spell motorcycle. Motorcycle.
Yeah. So it's just stuff to consider, when they go to renew or, just talk about it and find a better way so that we're not losing money. Maybe so the town could actually benefit from the running of that.
I would like to see personally those kinds of studies to find out about money or not, but just say money was no object and it is a diamond in the rough. Wouldn't you have year-round opportunities
Yes,
to use it
yes.
and expand on it, that it's not just one
Right.
program but I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, that's all.
Well, to be able to rent out the end the Y is on, which is the nicest part of the beach, rent that out on weekends when they're not using it for parties, for a birthday party or.
And that's why people cross the little bridge and go to the Pines, because there's nice sand over there.
Mhm.
That's why they park on the side of the road and walk through the woods, so they don't have to pay on the
Mm-hmm.
side.
Oh, wow.
But
I
I mean-
drive by it every day.
That's it, I mean, it is a diamond in the rough, and I don't think that it should be a tax burden on the citizens of Lyman. That should be self-sustaining at a minimum. You know, everything that we put out to pay, we should be getting back from that park. It's,
Or very close.
yes,
Yeah.
I mean,
Somehow,
Yeah.
some way.
I mean, we were very close back in 2019, and even the years before that. I saw some numbers before that. We were only within $2,000 or $3,000, but now we've jumped to $10,000-15,000 per year that we're off.
Yeah, that is,
That's huge.
Did we ever figure out what happened to the soccer team and the baseball? Are they funding? Like we
They're
were
funding
saying?
now, is my understanding.
Because they did in the past.
Yeah, it got missed, and it did. It got up. They brought up a meeting that it got missed, and that's been rectified, and they're paying. And I think the select board was going to develop a protocol or procedure for.
We did get one donation on last week, I
Yeah.
want to say it was, or this week, I don't know, it's been, they're all melding together lately.
Yeah,
I can't imagine why.
It was recently, but,
right.
so I have gotten one donation and we're working on others.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we pay for the mowing and we pay for the maintenance and we pay
Yep.
for the,
Power for
Water
irrigation.
power,
yeah.
the
we
snack
pay-
check
we put a lot of
power,
money
the
out there.
nighttime lights.
And that field is treated better than a golf course.
Yeah, and some of the other towns are backing away because it's costing them too much money.
Yep.
And they all like to come to Lyme because we still have a facility.
Mhm.
I think you brought up some really good points, and I appreciate your time and effort on that.
Thank you. Yeah, just looking to, I mean, again, it's like, there's no benefit from the
Hmm.
Y for Lyman residents with kids. I don't get, I guess long ago, they gave a discount for Lyman residents if your child went to a program. That doesn't exist. There's nothing. So just making sure that, you know, if we're expending the money, that it does benefit our taxpayers. You know? That's it.
Good. Thank you. Anybody else?
no, I mean, just to Dave's point, I understand your opinion. My opinion is that they're making the YMCA, and I'm not,
Well, I understand.
You know,
I had exactly the same feelings before I started negotiating with the Y. And hopefully you'll get a chance to negotiate
I-
it with them next year.
I mean, maybe I will, maybe I won't, I don't know, but my opinion is that if
I'd like to watch the,
if
video.
they're a company that is making money on, you know,
Yeah.
each child that comes in and spends 1 week there, $185, I don't know how
that's
many
exactly
kids.
the arguments that I made 6 years ago.
Well, they're gonna be made again here
Yeah.
shortly, so.
The only
Good.
meetings.
I think it's a good
With,
idea.
with,
I
with
mean, I
data,
think,
it's data and facts that
Yeah.
I'm collecting and, you know, again, great program, but I think the town's getting hosed a little bit.
but it's like they're a one of a kind. It's either them or nobody. And if we don't negotiate with them, then we have a choice. We either close it down or we hire our own people. And we know it's gonna cost more than $10,000 to hire our own
Yeah.
people.
Did we put it out to anybody else besides the Y to
Well,
do
there's-
that? And nobody
Nobody,
stepped up?
I guess you could put it out as an RFP.
That's what I'm asking. Do
but
you
I don't know who
remember
else
doing
would-
that?
I don't know who else would pick it up.
Oh, I think there'd be lots of
But there's,
places
You
interested.
think?
I do.
Well, why
I
don't,
do.
that might be a
Is
good
that-
idea.
I do. I think that there would be places that'd be interesting having a summer camp there or a day program like that, you know? Why might bid it?
yeah.
Well, right now, you don't have to worry about an RFP because we're paying them.
Right, yeah.
If
Well,
we put
Well,
an
it's still an
R-
RFP.
if we-
What would they charge us to do it?
If we put an RFP out, we could put an RFP out, what would you pay us to rent our facility for the season?
right.
I can't.
There's quite a
Well,
few big
but you'd have
places
to put
around.
in all the things they would be expected to do for us.
Oh, yeah,
And I think you'd end up pretty close, but
So-
it's worth a try.
yeah, I found the numbers from what Gorham gets to rent their field.
Yep.
Remember at the
Yeah,
last
they're
select
Oh.
meeting, I brought it up.
Field or?
Sorry, I missed all that.
Their football
Just the
field.
field.
Just their
Oh, yeah.
football field.
We
Gotta
don't do
start
that.
going to
That's a lot.
selectmen's
No,
we
meetings.
could do that.
They
They
get
really
$300 a day to rent their football field.
Yeah.
So,
Figure out what it costs us to operate the soccer field and the Little League field.
You
And
know,
what do
they
we
pad
charge?
paper.
I mean,
Yeah, they
I
make
don't know,
money.
maybe we're getting $3 or $4 grand out of the.
Yeah.
each one of them, and so it's,
You could
Okay.
definitely rent them out for
So-
whatever.
What do you anticipate for what the select board has to finish? I know they have a workshop scheduled.
Yeah.
What do you anticipate, how many more meetings we're gonna need to have?
No, really, there's just a few pieces of the operating budget left. And then they have to start working on the salaries and benefits.
So, because I'm gonna have to schedule more meetings. I know, did everybody get the email about the fire
Yes.
commission
Yeah.
Yeah.
meeting on the 6th?
Yep.
I think the 6th or 8th, something like that. I'd have to look it up.
Well, before you got here, Vicky Mack was talking about that, where they might not have to have it because of what's going on with Dayton.
Which is,
Well, it had to do with the hours, first of all, the extra hours. And there was something else where they were talking about if our board agreed to something, they would. So if something happens with the boards, they might not have that meeting.
well, we still have to vote on it though. The
We would
budget,
have to, right? But
we'd still have to vote on the budget,
Yeah.
but we wouldn't have to meet with them.
Right.
So that meeting may be canceled.
that's what, if I understood them right, it sounded like
I,
that.
shit, I don't,
I
that
mean,
was
if you
the
want
first
to
I
do,
heard of
if you
it
want to do a
tonight.
tentative meeting, so if we don't have to meet with them, we can go forward, because then
Well-
the select board will be down theirs.
Maybe two
Or-
or three tops.
Yeah.
well,
that's
what
I'm
my,
thinking.
where I'm going with this is what is the preference for meetings? Thursdays,
Mhm.
we usually meet on Thursdays. So I'll get with Lindsay and see what's available to us.
Right, because the ORC probably has it.
We also have
Thursday.
the quarterly meeting on April 20th.
Mhm.
We could do both. We could do
Right.
more. We could,
Agreed.
and things should be wrapped up by then. Then we'd be wrapped up. Are we gonna meet with, were we gonna have to meet with the select board like normally?
Well, I would always recommend if you guys have differences to sit down and talk them out because I think that was a very good meeting that we
I
had
think they were
that year.
beneficial,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was, for
Yeah.
sure.
That we had that year, so it would depend on where everybody stands.
They meet next week, right?
when are they gonna have,
Well,
when are they
they're
gonna be
meeting-
finished?
They're meeting with Bungan at first, so with the Y.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much we're gonna get done. Depends on how long their conversation with the Y is.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
When do you expect the information on the salaries?
We gave them an April 1st deadline.
So theoretically, when we
It's
have our
coming.
quarterly
Any
meetings,
day now,
everything should be finished and we should be able to do it all?
hopefully.
That's what I was
That
saying.
would
So
be-
why don't,
that would be nice.
that's what
Yeah.
that's why I'm
Yeah.
asking, because I don't wanna set a meeting and then, I
Yeah, then there's
can't,
nothing
it
to
says
talk
that,
about.
it says, and I don't wanna waste your time and I don't wanna waste
Let's
my
go for
time
the
either,
quarterly
so.
meeting and hope everything's done.
And that's 4/20, and that's a date I can remember.
There you go.
Me too.
All right then,
Okay.
4/20 it is, at 6 PM, we'll do the quarterly and then we'll
Hopefully everything
whack
else.
the rest,
Yeah, there might be.
or vice versa.
There might be more to have also.
And if we have to do more meetings at that time, we'll figure it out then.
Right.
And that's, 3 weeks away?
Yeah.
So a lot can change and then we'll just communicate if it does.
Sounds good.
All right?
Sounds like a plan.
Awesome.
When does this have to be all ready to put on the warrant?
You guys would print the warrants here.
When?
What do you mean?
There must be a deadline on when it has to be approved to go on the warrant,
To be printed.
to be printed.
We print them here.
Yeah, okay.
We copy them
When
here.
is the last day that you can have an approved budget?
I don't know, to tell you the truth.
June
That's-
3rd?
You probably could.
Well, I know we went too late last year.
Yeah,
And
we
people
were right
didn't
on
have
the
time to
cusp last year.
digest the information.
Yep.
Thankfully, your town meeting went fairly smoothly from what I hear. I wasn't able to go.
Yeah, we got,
We have tire marks still.
yeah.
Yeah.
The sooner
Yeah,
the
Oh,
better.
well,
but
But
we-
that
we
problem is
copied
gone.
them here, so,
Amen to
For
that.
that meeting. The other one, the secret ballot one, has to be done long before that because you have to do absentees and
Yeah.
things like that. But for the town meeting, we copy it here. We'd like to have a couple of public hearings about it. We'd like to post, the detail out on the internet. So, yeah, we prefer to get it done earlier than later.
Yeah, me too.
So,
I thought last year was really frustrating.
Yep.
To do it that late, and that's one of the things that I tried to keep in mind this year, even though things didn't work out exactly the way we planned anyway, but, we
We're still
can't,
ahead of the curve.
but
though,
we
I think.
can't rush, we can't make the selectmen do it any faster.
No, but I think
So
we've had
we're
some
kind
good-
of at the mercy of
Yes.
them.
We've had some good
obviously,
discussions
but-
though, and we kind of know what's coming down, so I think
Okay.
I think we're heading in a good direction.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, let me go get us
So
off
at
the line. I'll send it.
7:22 PM.
I will send an email to Lindsay. The camera's not working. It has to be back on.
Yeah.
You got me on that one today.
yeah, you did everything I would.
Yeah, I reviewed it.
Unplug it, reboot it.
Well, thankfully we had audio so we could